Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Timeout with Makali. Back at it again, and we're here for episode number 6. The Super Bowl has just wrapped up. The Kansas City Chiefs beating the San Francisco 49ers, and we'll have a lot to discuss about that game. And moving on, and we'll be moving on to another time. It is also All-Star Weekend in Indianapolis, Indiana, where the All Star game is going to be happening. Second half of basketball is about to start. I can't wait for that. And we'll be talking about mostly the Super Bowl aftermath. So let's go. Now, as you all know, the Kansas City Chiefs defeated the San Francisco 49ers 25-22 in a thrilling game. Patrick Mahomes was the Super Bowl MVP, winning his third Super Bowl and his third Super Bowl MVP. And I just have a lot to discuss from this game. A lot to discuss about this game. The Kansas City Chiefs for the better part, they're mostly out of this game in the first half. They were playing lackluster. The 49ers really had them. And we'll have a lot to discuss about the 49ers as well. And how I think there's one person to really blame for their Super Bowl loss. Now, going back to this, the Kansas City Chiefs, for the first half, they were not playing well. First quarter, the second quarter, they might have had like 3 or 4 fumbles, and then Pat threw that pick in the third quarter. It was looking bad for them. It was looking like the team we saw, the Kansas City Chiefs team that we saw for the better part of the first half is what we looked like we saw from when they were playing in December and late November. That's the Chiefs that we really saw in that first half. The Niners had them ready in that line of scrimmage. Pacheco fumbled in a crucial play. Obviously, Kelsey was fighting Andy Reid. I don't know what he was doing there. Can't be fighting your coach. The momentum and everything changed for the Chiefs when the punt return fumble happened. That's when it really happened, when the switch just flipped for the Chiefs. Was when the guy muffed the punt, hit off the defenders, the returners, one of the gunners' feet, and so they recovered it. But we just have to talk about how great Patrick Mahomes really is, and Andy Reid and those guys. The legends show up when it matters most. The legends show up in the fourth quarter. Patrick Mahomes has established himself as a legend. And everybody was talking about how I was talking about the first 3 quarters, they were not playing well. But when the lights shine brightest, the legends overcome. The great ones overcome. And that's what Patrick Mahomes did. The fourth quarter, he was money. I don't even think he had an incompletion in the fourth quarter. We could fact check that, but I don't think he was flawless in the fourth quarter and overtime. Flawless. I mean, picking apart the Niners defense when it really mattered most, showing up when it mattered most. And before I even talk about Mahomes and everything, obviously, before I even go in more in depth to this game, I want to talk about obviously the Kansas City shooting, the celebration. Very, very sad. With the celebration, Super Bowl parade, the day was supposed to be celebration. Unfortunate events happened with the shooting. Luckily, there was not many casualties, but very sad, very, very sad. And praying for all those people out in Kansas City. I've been to Kansas City, so just praying for all those people down in Kansas City. Kind of the better for the worse kind of change with the shooting and all, but yeah, it's just very, very sad. But also, I want to after saying all that, I want to also talk about the Kansas City defense. Them boys showed out. Those guys showed out. Steve Spagnuolo, I think, might be the greatest defensive coordinator to ever live. When it's a big game, he always shows up. I'm always arguing with my Giant friends, with my friends who are Giants fans. They're like, oh, Eli Manning was clutching those 2 games and yada 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 and this that. And I'm like, no. Steve Spagnuolo won you those Super Bowls. Steve Spagnuolo won you those Super Bowls. You don't think if Eli Manning beat the '07 Patriots, Eli Manning would have to throw like 4 or 5 touchdowns to win that game if they didn't have Spagnuolo. One of the greatest offenses to ever live, barely scoring all game. Nah, that was all Spags. And Spags ran laps around Kyle Shanahan. Laps. He outcoached him. Deebo Samuel had 11 targets. He only had 3 catches. McDuffie he's already a first team All Pro. He in his second year is crazy, but he's going to be an elite corner for the next 5-10 years. He's elite. Trent McDuffie is elite. My goodness. The deep pass play where he broke it up, a lot of people saying, oh, he held him. If true people who watch football know that there wasn't holding or pass interference. If it was that bad of a holding call, then it should have affected Deebo. It should have affected Deebo Samuel's trajectory. If he held his arm and Deebo couldn't get his arm up, or if he tripped or fell, and McDuffie was holding his arm, that's holding or pass interference. No, what McDuffie did was absolutely technique. Besides that holding call against Juwan Johnson, he played a perfect game. I think honestly, besides Patrick Mahomes, who really saved the day for them, I think besides Patrick Mahomes, the MVP should have gone to Trent McDuffie and Chris Jones. Chris Jones just affected, he destroyed their offensive line. Chris Jones wreaked havoc against whatever the Niners were trying to do in the run game, the pass game, play action, you name it. The play in overtime, we'll get there. But going back to McDuffie on 3rd and 4, it was 2 minutes, 2-minute warning. Niners are in Chiefs territory. If the Niners convert this first down, the game probably would have been over. Chiefs had 2 timeouts. The Niners would have ran down the clock, leaving barely any time left for the Chiefs to get the ball back, and they would probably have won the game. And the Chiefs, Steve Spagnuolo, knows, I got Patrick Mahomes on the other side. You don't, and the 49ers made that mistake. Look, man, you don't want to give back Pat the ball. You don't want to give Pat back the ball because he shows up. That's his moment right there. He wants it. Like I said, Spagnuolo calls a great blitz, free rusher. McDuffie comes in from the slot. Brock Purdy didn't have a chance. Ball is deflected. Even if he held that ball 2 more seconds, he would have been sacked. And not only was that good for the Chiefs in terms of getting off the field, it stopped the clock. It's just amazing. But everyone could say that there's a few that game could have gone a few plays there could have gone either way, really. But before I get into that, and then we get to the overtime, you get 2 minutes the ball to Pat. You know it's his time. You know it's Pat time. You know it's Pat's time. Gets the ball, 2 minutes. Honestly, when he converted the 3rd and 7 at Kelsey at the 40 yard 30 yard line. I thought they were about to score a touchdown because Kelsey ran to like with the 10, the 9. I'm like, man, they about to score. They're about to score 10. I was like 10 yards. Andy Reid. I thought they were about to score, and they had a timeout too. And Pat was flawless on that drive, flawless. Besides the incompletion to Kelsey in the back of the end zone, he was flawless, absolutely flawless. Um, Gets him into field goal range. A lot of people said he had Rice open. He did have Rice open. Rashee Rice was wide open, and they had a timeout. He probably could have scored, but because there was a bit of a miscommunication with Rashee and Pat on the sidelines after he made the field goal because he was like, "Yo, man, I was open." But we all know that ball was going to 87. I know it. You probably knew it. The Niners knew it. The Chiefs knew it. Everybody in the stadium knew it. The broadcasters knew it. Tony probably knew it too. That ball was going to 87. And look, they get the incompletion. Harrison Butker, also one of the unsung heroes of this game. Not a lot of people are talking about Harrison Butker. That guy was money in the Super Bowl. He was money in that game. Didn't miss a field goal, and he was clutch. Clutch. Look, I know it was a chip shot field goal, but look, 6 seconds, your Super Bowl on the line, your season's on the line, that game's on the line. Just kicked it like it was nothing. Down the middle. And honestly, a lot of people are saying the game kind of changed with the Moody getting the block kick. Yeah, because the 49ers did get that stop in the goal line in the fourth quarter, which was huge. But I don't know if that was really a game changer in my opinion. I think that was just an unfortunate event. And we get to overtime, and I'll get into what the 49ers did because I'm about to talk about the 49ers and I'm about to vent. Don't get me wrong. Don't worry. Don't worry. Chiefs, they get the field goal stop. They stopped them in the red zone. Chris Jones again saving the day when unblocked. Brock Purdy has no chance of even accurately throwing the ball, so he has to chuck it away. Gets to stop. Pat, overtime drive, 75 yards. When have you seen a guy besides Tom Brady go on a 75-yard drive to get you a Super Bowl? Only 2 quarterbacks have done it. Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes are the only guys that have had 75-yard game-winning drives in overtime of a Super Bowl. And he was perfect. He did it. Not only did he did it with his arm, he used his legs. Patrick Mahomes, using his arms and legs, won that game. The 3rd-and-1 run, honestly, a lot of people are sleeping on his legs. His legs are in my opinion, besides his arm, his legs are one of the most important attributes of his skill. Because he's able to create with his legs. And he's able to run. A lot of people take for granted that I think his most underrated part of his game is his legs. Because he knows he knows when to run and when not to run. And he runs and it's so timely. Like the 3rd one, he got like 15 yards. And he killed my team last year on that first down when he ran for 20 yards on a sprained ankle to get him into field goal range. I'm like, Dad, that was clutch. And this year, again, being clutch on 3rd down, running for 20 yards, getting into the 10. What was it? The 13, 15-yard line? 13, 15-yard line. Gets to Kelsey. 1st and goal. McCole. And then they called a corn dog play to McCole. Just genius. It was a genius play call. McCole Hardman was wide open. The little fake motion, comeback, wide open. The Chiefs went on a walk-off. We got some stuff to talk about. I think Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion, after winning that Super Bowl and him becoming the 3rd MVP, Super Bowl MVP, before 30, That's crazy. Having 3 rings and 3 MVPs, two two regular season MVPs before 30 is unreal. Unreal. I think he's number 2 all time. I think he's better than Joe Montana. I think he's better than Joe Montana. He's number 2 right behind Brady. A lot of people say, well, he doesn't have the rings. I don't think he doesn't have the rings like Brady to be number 1. I don't even think rings even have to be a determinant of who's better or not, because Brady played for so long. He played for 23 years. Pat is in what, year 7? Year 8? Year 7? What is this, year 7? And he already has 3 rings? No. And he has 3 rings and 3 MVPs and Super Bowl MVPs. Like, if you were to compare, I have the stats, I have it right here. If we were to compare the first, I think this is 7 or 8 years, the first 96 games to Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes' career, Patrick Mahomes has the better record, 74-22 record to Tom's 70-24 record. This is the first 96 games of the year. I think this is the first 7 years or 7 or 8 years of both of their careers compared. Patrick Mahomes has 66.5 completion percentage to Tom Brady's 61.9, basically 62%. More passing yards with 28,424 yards to Tom Brady's 21,564 yards. His yards per attempt is 7.9 to Tom Brady's 7.0. His yards per game is 296.1 to Tom's 224.6. His passing touchdown is literally like triple the amount or double the amount. 219 to Tom Brady's 147. His interception is 63 to Tom Brady's 678. His QBR rate is 103.5 to Tom Brady's 88.4. Obviously, he's rushed for more yards, rushed for more attempts. Already even have 2,000 rushing yards. And he has more TDs. I'm not going to really count rushing because Tom Brady didn't release his legs. But going to the awards, Tom Brady has 3 rings. Had 3 championships. To Patrick Mahomes' 3, so they both have tied. Patrick Mahomes has more Pro Bowls to 6 to Tom Brady's 3. Has more All-Pros, 3 to Tom Brady's 1. More MVPs from 2 to Tom's none. AP Offensive Player of the Year, 1 to Tom Brady's none. And he has more Super Bowl MVPs from 3 to Tom's 2. That's Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady's career at 96 games. Or the first 7 years of their career. When are we gonna say that Patrick Mahomes has had the greatest career to start off to an NFL career? He was better than Tom Brady was at before 30. When are we gonna do it? I think, in my opinion, Tom is the GOAT in terms of winning and achieving accomplishments. Yes, but Patrick Mahomes is the better quarterback. He's more talented. He's a winner. He is more talented than Tom Brady ever was. Tom was a maestro at killing people in the pocket. Pat can do that and more. Pat can do that and more. He can do that and more, man. But Brady has never had the arm as Patrick Mahomes has. Mahomes can throw that ball like 70 yards downfield. That's my opinion. I think Patrick Mahomes will always be, in my opinion, the most talented quarterback to ever touch a football. But he's not the GOAT yet because he has not won enough championships. Once he gets to 5, what are y'all going to say? If he goes back to back, 3-peats for the first time in NFL history, what are y'all going to say? That's never happened before. Even to go back to back is rare in its finest. We have not gone a back to back since 2004. It's been 20 years. What are y'all gonna say? What are y'all gonna say? Mahomes gets his third trip to Disneyland, or a second trip to Disneyland because his first was in Disney World. He's a regular guest there at this point. I also want to bring another comparison. A lot of people, this seems to be an overwhelming debate. I don't know how it is. Travis Kelce. Do y'all think he's the GOAT tight end? I think it's close, but you have to include Kelce because Kelce statistically was better than Gronkowski. Travis Kelce is statistically better than Gronk was, and honestly, Travis Kelce is the best. Is besides Jerry Rice, the best postseason receiver of all time. But nobody like I don't understand. I'm not trying to like be like trying to judge sides or like make or be on one person's side or not be on a person's side. But I don't know how y'all can say Gronk is the GOAT tight end because I don't even think he's better than Antonio and than Tony Gonzalez. Oh, Tony Gonzalez, Makali, he didn't win any rings. Yeah, but Tony Gonzalez was better statistically than Gronk was. A lot of people want to say, well, Gronk's blocking. He's the pure tight end that you wanted. I think Gronk would be the undisputed GOAT tight end if he played in more games, if he had a healthier career. Because y'all forget, Gronk's career was so short. He retired after 2019 after being drafted in 12? 7-year career? Kelsey's what, 34? Yeah, Gronk came back a season. He came back for another 2 seasons and then called it quits. Bob Gronkowski's career, in my opinion, if he was healthier, yes, he would be the greatest tight end of all time, undisputed. But he was not healthy enough to be the GOAT tight end. He dealt with concussion, arm, and leg. He dealt with so many injuries in his career. He called it quits. He was in his prime, and he retired after winning a Super Bowl. And then came back for 2 seasons in Tampa Bay. Yeah, he won a ring, but he didn't do anything in that first season in Tampa Bay besides, catching 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl. But in the year after that, he was hurt. He missed like half the season. Like Gronk's probably just couldn't take it anymore. Kelce will always. I like consistency. Travis Kelce, I know he ended his 1,000-yard streak this year because he was saving for the playoffs. He had 8 1,000 yards and 8 consecutive 1,000-yard receivings. He had 8 consecutive 1,000 yards receiving in seasons. He had only missed 1 game in his career, which was this year, the first game of the season. He's arguably the most consistent tight end ever. So how can we just say, oh, Gronk's better because he was the beast? He was a beast. And he blocks more. Gronk would be the undisputed GOAT tight end if he just was healthier. But he was not. And Kelce has been. If we compare the two, regular season and playoffs, Robert Kelce played 165 games. Travis Kelce's 181. Has 719 receptions. Travis Kelce's 1,072 receiving catches. Robert Gronkowski has 10,675 receiving yards. Travis Kelce, 13,231 receiving yards. Gronk, yes, he has the more touchdowns, 107 to Kelce's 93. I'm going to put an asterisk on championships because Gronk did not play in one of them. It was the Atlanta Super Bowl. He did not play in that one. Kelce has more Pro Bowls, and they have the same amount of All-Pros. Kelsey statistically is better than Gronk. Kelsey was more consistent than Gronk. Kelsey was better in the playoffs. Broke Jerry Rice's all-time postseason postseason catches. That's unheard of. To do that is crazy. Because Randy Moss is the greatest receiver of all time, and to do that is crazy. Travis Kelsey and Patrick Mahomes broke Rob Gronkowski's record for most QB receiver duo touchdowns in the playoffs. Travis Kelsey is besides Randy Moss the greatest postseason receiver of all time, and Kelsey is like probably better than Gronk. I'm not going. I like these stats wise and the consistency base. And the argument is also, well, Kelsey's just a receiver. He's not a tight end. He's a receiver. Kelsey's position is tight end. He lines up in the tight end spot. He doesn't line up in the X and the Y spot. He's a tight end. He lines up in the tight end spots. He is built like a tight end. Yes, Rob Gronkowski is a Hall of Famer, but he did not play enough. His career wasn't healthy enough to be the undisputed GOAT. I'm sorry, I can't do it. I know y'all fan. I know a lot of people say, well, the talent wise, Gronk was the complete tight end, and this, that, and the other. Gronk did not play enough healthy seasons to be labeled as the greatest tight end of all time, undisputedly. Because that's how a lot of people view Gronk, the undisputed GOAT tight end. There is someone else that is arguably better than him. But once again, the Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl. Andy Reid. I want to talk about also Andy Reid. Andy Reid. Wow, what a career turnaround. Andy Reid, for the better part, most of y'all don't know this. Andy Reid used to be a playoff choker, y'all. Andy Reid used to be a playoff choker. Going back to Phil, he used to be he used to be like James Harden and like I can't remember saying this, like Joel Embiid. That's who he used to be. He used to be a guy who would win 11, 12 games, win the division, and then just fold in the apps, and he would fold in the playoffs. But he used to be that guy in Philadelphia and Kansas City before Mahomes, when he had Marcus Mariota. When Marcus Mariota came in and they were down up 21-3. For the better part, he used to be like Doc Rivers. But he overcame those allegations by getting Patrick Mahomes, obviously. And those two kind of like elevated themselves. Andy Reid elevated Mahomes, and Mahomes elevated Andy Reid. Andy Reid was now back-to-back Super Bowl champions. And he's considered now, top 3 all time, in my opinion, right? There's Don Shula, there's Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick. But I put Andy Reid at 3. I think Andy Reid is honestly the greatest offensive mind of all time, in my opinion. So I put him at top 3. Now, finally, we get the Kansas City. Well, before I also want to talk about a guy like, also, not now. I kind of like went to a different topic, but I want to come back to the topic. I also talk about McCall Hardman. What if I imagine me telling a bunch of Jets fans this year that guy's going to win the game winning? That guy's going to have the game winning catch in the Super Bowl. Jets fans would have been elated. They would have been excited. But no. He went back to Kansas City and did it. Shout out to that guy, man. Overcame a lot of adversity. Barely played for the Jets. Brett Veach calls the Jets, said, hey, we want McCall back. Okay, you can have him. Gets him back and had some adversity and caught the game-winning pass, man. Stuff can change. A lot can change, and he'll be forever remembered as the guy scoring the game winner to win the Super Bowl. But now, finally, moving on. I finally can't wait to. I've been waiting all week to talk about this. I know I'm recording on Friday, but I've been waiting all week to talk about this. The San Francisco 49ers. What the hell happened to them? I'll tell you what the hell happened to them. It was Kyle Shanahan. It was Kyle Shanahan. Now, I hate the San Francisco 49ers. I do not like them. I do not like them. Their players talk a lot of trash. They make a lot of excuses whenever they lose. They think they're very good, but they make a lot of excuses when they lose. And then whenever they lose, they like to talk trash, and they like to just fight people for no reason whenever they're losing. Q Trent Williams. I absolutely cannot stand that guy, Trent Williams. And also like Debo too. I think he just talks too much. But Kyle Shanahan, man. Dude, if I were a 49ers fan, you lost all faith and trust in me after the Super Bowl. Dude, you had them. You had them up by 10 before half. They obviously scored 3 going into halftime. And you're blaming your defensive coordinator. You're scapegoating your defensive coordinator by firing him, saying, "Oh, it wasn't going to work out." Why? They had Mahomes contained, struggling for 3 quarters. Why would you fire him? Maybe okay. Well, the NFC Championship game. Okay, I'm trying to find like a reason why they would fire him. They were top 6 all year. I guess maybe the playoffs. I don't know, because the Super Bowl, he contained the best quarterback in the league to 3 points for about 40 minutes. For a good lengthy time, for 3 quarters. Why would you fire him? I blame you for the loss, Kyle Shanahan. I blame you. What were you doing in the 3rd quarter? Oh, that's right, score the donut. You had Patrick Mahomes contained, and you just they had turnovers. They had 2 turnovers, and you failed to score on either one of them. The 3rd quarter, did you just forget you had Christian McCaffrey? You barely gave him the ball in the 2nd half. Did you forget you had him? You didn't run the ball. You just pass against the number 1 passing defense in the NFL, and you kept going 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. You didn't score at all in the 3rd quarter. Kyle Shanahan. And not to mention what's being told right now and what's coming out, you didn't know the overtime rules. Because you know why the 49ers didn't know the overtime? You know why this doesn't surprise me? Because the Chiefs are always in those games. Damn it, they created the rule. They're the reason why the rule's even a thing. The Josh Allen game, obviously we know what happened. But they're the reasons why it's a rule. So obviously they would know. And they're always in those games in the postseason when it comes down to the last drive. And the Niners are never playing in those games. They're always playing up ahead. Always. And if they're not, then something went wrong. It just, not knowing the game would have went to overtime, it's just embarrassing. It's embarrassing to have guys like Kyle Juszczyk and Eric Armstrong going, I didn't know the rules. This is the first time I even knew of the rules, that you get the ball, that 2 teams get to touch the ball in overtime, regardless if they score or not. Shows to me that you weren't prepared at all. You were not prepared at all, Kyle Shanahan. You were not. And firing your defensive coordinator is low. It's so low. George Kittle talking about, I'm coming back with vengeance. Vengeance is 2 catches and 4 yards. Okay, buddy. I think you need to learn the new definition of a vengeance. If you're going to catch 2 passes for 4 yards, and to make a fool out of yourself, to talking to George Karlaftis going, "Oh hey George," and not letting him jump on the fumble. How foolish of you! I don't blame Brock Purdy. I don't blame CMC. I don't blame Steve Wilkes. I don't blame anybody. I don't even blame Drake Greenlaw because I think that sucks. Unfortunately, he tore his Achilles running onto the field. I blame nobody on the 49ers besides Kyle Shanahan. He deserves 100% of the blame. Not scoring in the third quarter, bad play calling, being outcoached, and not knowing the overtime rules. Why would you, in God's named earth, receive the ball in that situation? The rule. Well, I heard people go, "Oh well, it's actually smart because they get the ball third. It goes to sudden death. So if it goes to sudden death, they would have the chance to end the game right there with a field goal or touchdown." I agree, but the Chiefs said even if we scored, we were going for two. They were going to go for two. They were not going to go. You think Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid wanted to play a double overtime? You think they wanted to do that? They wanted to end it. But you made it even easier for them receiving the ball. And I'll tell you why it was a bad decision receiving the ball. So the overtime rules was kind of like college football. It was kind of like the college football rules. Both teams get to touch the ball no matter what happens. And if the score keeps going, it goes to sudden death. It's kind of like the college football rules, but it starts at the 25. It starts at their own 25, or regardless of what happens. If Ray McLeod or anybody took the ball back to the end zone for a kick return touchdown, the Chiefs were going to get the ball back. Right? Okay. So they decided to if you take the ball right first, you give the Chiefs an extra down. So if it gets to fourth down, they're not punting it; they're going for it. And if you kick the ball, why it's smart to give the ball to them because you know what you have to do when you get the ball. If you need three, you can go. If you're in enemy territory and you get stopped, you can kick the field goal. Or if you're down a touchdown, you need a touchdown. If you're down 3, you score a touchdown, the game's over. Right? Kicking it is honestly the smartest option. And even if the Niners were stopped, the kicking is the smartest option because if you stop them on third down, they would have to punt it. They'd have to punt. Now, if you have to punt it, all you need is 3. All you need is a score, and you win the game. But Kyle Shanahan didn't know that. He didn't know that. He thought in his head, well, we thought we were gonna end it. Dude, they were going for 2. They had a plan for weeks, for months. They knew what they were doing. Y'all didn't. Which is embarrassing. It's like, and blaming firing your defensive coordinator is low, man. It's so low. I don't blame anybody but Kyle Shanahan. I think their window is closing because they're over in cap. They spent a lot of draft picks on that team. They gave a lot of capital for that team with CMC and Chase Young and all those guys. They're gonna have to let go of some of the older veterans, and they're gonna have to pay Brock Purdy eventually. Because I think next year or the year after that might be their last year of paying him like $700K a year. He's gonna probably get $40K. He's gonna $40K. He'll probably get $40 million soon. So they're gonna have to think. Look, do we pay Chase Young? No, you don't. Do we let go of George Kittle? Maybe. Do we let go of Trent Williams? Maybe. They got some decisions to do, man. They're I think $47 million over the cap. It's bad. But yeah, I mean, I think the window was closed. But the 49ers they just gave that game to them. Gave it away. And leaving Chris Jones unblocked Unfortunate. Unfortunate. Well, another episode in the books. Now that the football season's over, we're transitioning into the basketball and the baseball season. If you're a baseball fan, this podcast is also for you as well. Um, Spring training is coming up, and obviously the second half of basketball is coming up. Now, obviously, college basketball too. Next month will be March Madness eventually, and the conference tournaments in a few weeks. So I can't wait to discuss that as well, and other storylines as well in the sports world. So this is Time Out with Makali, with Makali Pennycook. I can catch y'all later. Peace. Have a good weekend.